The courtroom was silent, heavy. You could feel the tension. Ashley Benefield, a former ballerina known for her grace and beauty, sat at the defendant's table, but there was no grace in her movements now. Only fear. She was accused of a terrible crime, murder. Her husband, Doug Benefield, was dead. Ashley claimed she did it in self-defense. The prosecution claimed it was cold-blooded murder. This was a story of love, manipulation, and ultimately violence. The trial was a spectacle. Reporters crowded the courtroom, eager for every detail. The public was captivated. How could a woman like Ashley, with so much promise, be capable of such a thing? The trial would force everyone to confront uncomfortable truths about domestic abuse, manipulation, and the dark side of love. Ashley's life had always been about movement. She started ballet as a young girl. It was her passion. She spent hours in the studio perfecting her craft. She was good, very good. People said she had a gift. Ashley dreamed of dancing on the biggest stages. She wanted to travel the world, share her gift with everyone. She had big dreams and the talent to match. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Ashley met Doug Benefield at a fundraising event. He was older, successful. He was instantly smitten with her. Doug was charming. He showered Ashley with attention and expensive gifts. He promised her the world. Ashley, young and ambitious, was swept off her feet. They started dating. Ashley saw in Doug a way to achieve her dreams. He had connections, resources. He could open doors for her. They married quickly. It seemed like a fairy tale, but fairy tales often have dark secrets. The cracks in the marriage appeared quickly. Doug became controlling. He isolated Ashley from her friends and family. He monitored her every move. He wanted to control her life. Ashley, once carefree and full of life, became withdrawn. The abuse escalated. It started with verbal abuse, insults, threats, then it became physical, shoving, slapping. Ashley was trapped. She was afraid to leave. She was afraid of what Doug would do. Ashley was living a nightmare. Section 5. A shot in the night. The prosecution's case. The prosecution presented a clear narrative. Ashley, they argued, was motivated by greed. She wanted to be free of Doug and, well, she wanted his money. They painted a picture of a cunning woman, a manipulator. They claimed Ashley was the aggressor that night, that she shot Doug in cold blood. The prosecution presented their evidence. They pointed to inconsistencies in Ashley's story. They highlighted financial disputes between the couple. They argued that Ashley had everything to gain from Doug's death. They asked the jury to see Ashley for what she truly was, a cold-blooded killer. Section 6. A desperate act. Ashley's claim of self-defense. Ashley's defense team argued that she was a victim of domestic violence. They said she was terrified of Doug. They claimed that on the night of the shooting, Doug was enraged, that he threatened her. They said she acted in self-defense. It was her only choice. The defense presented their evidence. They showed photos of Ashley's injuries. They presented witnesses who testified to Doug's controlling and abusive behavior. They argued that Ashley was a battered woman who had finally snapped. They pleaded with the jury to see Ashley as a victim fighting for her life. Section 7. Tears and Testimonies. The courtroom drama. The trial was emotionally charged. Witnesses broke down on the stand. The courtroom was filled with tears and anger. Ashley's family and friends maintained her innocence. They spoke of a kind and loving woman. They pleaded for her freedom. Doug's family wanted justice. They believed Ashley was a monster. They wanted her to pay for what she did. The jury listened intently. They had to decide, was Ashley a cold-blooded killer or a victim of abuse? The tension in the courtroom was palpable. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the verdict. Section 8. The verdict. Justice or a miscarriage? After days of deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. Guilty. A gasp went through the courtroom. Ashley's face crumpled. Her family sobbed uncontrollably. Doug's family hugged each other, tears streaming down their faces. Justice had been served, or had it? The verdict sparked outrage and debate. Some believed justice had been served. Others believed Ashley was a victim of a system that often fails to protect women. The case became a flashpoint in the conversation about domestic violence and the justice system. Section 9. A life upended, the aftermath. Ashley Benefield was sentenced to prison. Her life as she knew it was over. The trial had left its mark on everyone involved. Doug's family was left to grieve his loss. Ashley's family was left to grapple with the verdict. The Black Swan murder trial, as it came to be known, was a stark reminder of the devastating effects of domestic violence. It was a tragedy for everyone involved. The case continues to spark debate and discussion. It is a story that stays with you long after you hear it, a story of love, betrayal, and the devastating consequences of violence.